Hello everyone, hopefully you're doing well. In this video, we're going to focus on formulas and problem solving. Remember that we are still in chapter 2, equations, inequalities, and problem solving. In the previous two sections, we went over linear equations in one variable, and also we made a brief introduction on problem solving. In this section, we're going to focus on formulas and problem solving. We're going to solve a formula for a specified variables because one of the things that is very important is to know that when you solve a problem, it's not all the time you know all the facts. So that's why sometimes you need to identify, not sometimes, all the times you need to identify the facts and you identify also the variables. So we're gonna do that, of course. We make sure that we identify what is given and what we should find. In these examples, a formula is an equation. When we talk about the formulas, a formula is an equation that states a known relationship among multiple quantities, has more than one variable in it. For example, you know the area of a rectangle. If they ask you what is the area of a rectangle, the first thing you need to remember from the area of a rectangle, there is a length and there is a width. So the lengths, lengths are equal, both widths are equals because we're dealing with a rectangles. So you multiply both areas. If they were asking you for the perimeter of a rectangle, so you can pause the video very quick and tell me what is the perimeter of a rectangle. Perimeter of a rectangle. Because the lengths are equivalent, because if you have the top one is the length and the bottom one is also the length, and the width left right are the width. So you're going to have 2L, because you need to add up all the sides. You can do L plus W plus W. So one L plus one L give you 2L. One W plus one W give you 2W. So if you want, you can either say the perimeter of a rectangle is 2L plus 2W, or you can factor the common factor, which is 2. You say 2 times L plus W would be the formula you can use to compute the perimeter of a rectangle. When you know the width and the length, the perimeter is okay. The same way we can be given the perimeter and one of the sides and ask you to find the other side. So you see, for perimeter, we said that is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. But when we do the area of a rectangle is length times the width. So remember the times in the middle, you multiply them. So the other formula you see here is simple interest. Simple interest equal the principal, that means the money invested, multiplied by the interest rate, and over what period of time you invest that money. Suppose you invest $1,000 at a 5% interest rate over 5 years. So P would be $1,000 you invest. R would be 5%, 0.05, and T along for how many years you make that investment is 5 years. So T would be 5. Then the interest earned because this, when you say I is interest earned. So that's a formula, interest earned. So we said R is interest rate. Remember, interest rate is R, right? is the R, and principal is like the money you invest. Perimeter of a triangle. You know the triangle. Triangle can be three sides, any three sides. So if you call that one A, B, and C, anytime you said perimeter, that means you need to add all the sides. It's like going around. If you have a plot of land that you want to put a fence around it, so you're looking for the perimeter. But if you want them to put grass on it, you're looking for the area. So dr, that's a distance. If you want to know what distance you're gonna drive at t time when you make r speed, let's say r is the speed limit, or the speed. Let's say if you drive for 65 minutes miles per hour, sorry, if you drive 65 miles per hour, that would be the rate. And for how long you drive, if you drive 65 miles per hour for 4 hours, then that would give you the distance you drive, right? So that means 4 times 65. So if you do 65 times 4, that's gonna give you the 260 miles you're gonna drive. So that's how we said those are a few formulas. Volume of a rectangle solid equals the length times the width times the height. Remember, when you have a rectangle, remember that it gives you something like that, right? So that's a rectangle. So remember that has the width, W, that has the height, and that's half the length. So you have three sides in a rectangle like this. So if you're looking for the volume, let's say, for example, if you have a box, when you want to fill up this box with rice, now you're looking for volume, all right, not area. If you want to fill up the box with something, that's area. So what happened is not all the time they're going to give you the length, the width, and the height and ask you for the volume. Sometimes the volume is given, the length is given, and the height is given, and they ask you to find the width. So at this time, let's say if you have V equal LWH, find H. So all you need to do is taking your V equal LWH and you divide both sides by LW. So you isolate your H. So it gives you V equal L over W, and you see you're gonna find the H back. Let's see this in an example. So what they ask you to do here is to solve that formula. You see you have the formula T equal M times N times R. They ask you to solve for N, find N. So in order for me to find N, because solving, let's say if I have 5 equal 3x, if they ask me to solve for x, what would you do? Yes, you would divide both sides of your equation by 3 because you need to isolate the x term. So when you cancel this side, you have only x, and the other side, you're going to have 5 over 3. So in order to solve for a variable, you need to isolate that variable. What I would do is to divide both sides by the factors I don't need in the right side. I don't need m, I would divide by m, and I would divide by n. So whatever I do on the right, I also need to do it on the left. So you see, you cancel out m because you're dealing with factors, okay? And you cancel out n, sorry. So you have left r equal t over m n. So this is the answer. Note, we can do that all the times, any times we deal with factors, with products. But suppose you had, T equal M plus N plus R, and they ask you solve for R, you're not going to divide both sides. What you need to do is subtract M from both sides because that's addition. So you're going to have T minus M equal N plus R, because we still see there is an N on the same side as R. And when you solve for a letter, you must have the letter all alone on one side. So what we do, we subtract n from both sides also. So final answer would be T minus M minus N equal R. Now, because we have R all by itself on the right, we state the final answer, R equal T minus M minus N. So that's the difference between when you deal with sum of subtraction and or when you deal with products. With the products, you divide. With the sum of subtraction, you add or subtract from both sides in order to obtain what they ask you to find. So how to solve equations for a specified variable? First of all, you clean the equation of fractions by multiplying each side of the equation by the least common denominator. So we need to make sure that we really do that. Second of all, what we need to do is to use the distributive property to remove grouping symbols such as parentheses. We combine like terms on each side of the equation, and you use the addition property of equality to rewrite the equations as an equivalent equation with terms containing the specified variable on one side and all other terms on the other side. And finally, you use the distributive property and the multiplication property of equation to isolate the specified variables. I know we said a lot of things, but let's go over another example. Suppose they ask you in the first example to solve for t. All right, so you see here there is a product. So because there is a product and I'm solving for t, t is part of a big product, but the problem, we have a plus sign. So the first thing I need to do is isolate, get rid of the p on the same side where I have my product. So I have a minus p equal p r t. Okay, now on the right, I have a product of three factors, P, R, T. I only need to have T on the right. I need to get rid of P and R. What should I do? Should I add P and R on both sides, or should I divide? Yes, in this case, we must divide because it's a product. Because it's a product, we can divide by PR from both sides. PR from both sides. So T would be A minus P over PR. So we solve for T by isolating first. We first of all by getting rid of P, because in additions we can subtract. All right, then we divide from both sides. But if you take the same examples and if they ask you from these two examples, you must solve for P. This is our big problem in the second one. I don't know if I can put it on this side. Is it something? Okay, I cannot remove it. Oh, I think I can. Let's remove it. I'm going to put it over here. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna put this one right there. Okay. Now let's make it easier for me to solve from both sides, and I have enough space for it. Okay. Now, notice that we need to solve for P. But the problem, if I subtract P from both sides, it's gonna mess it up. So the first thing to do is to identify common factors. I can rewrite this one as A equal 1P plus P times RT. So it's the same thing. Because I see P on two terms here, I can say, oh, you know what? I'm going to factor P because the common factor here is P. If I factor P, I have the one left for the first term plus RT for the second term. Now we have a product. The product we have is P times something inside of the parentheses, all right? So I'm not looking for 1 plus RT. I'm looking on the right and seeing two factors. I have P times another factor. In order to obtain P, I need to divide both sides by the factors you see for P. So I divide both sides by 1 plus RT. 1 plus RT. So what is P then? P would be A over 1 plus RT. Remember, it is the same formula that we give you for exercise A. I'm going to call this one A, and I'm going to call this one B. But we didn't solve for the same variables. It's all depends which variable you are interested in. You may approach a problem in different ways. So, and in the second one, what we did, we factor out P on the right. Then we divide both sides of the equation by 1 plus RT. Then if it's possible, we can simplify later. So that's how we proceed really to solve a formula for a specified, variable. But, it's not the only objective we push in this exercise, in this section. We can also convert the temperature, we can also use formulas to solve problems. For examples, we need to know a lot of these formulas because one thing you need to remember is how you can, solve for a variable. So we learn for a variable, and then you can convert, okay? If you convert, Celsius to Fahrenheit, or you can convert Fahrenheit to Celsius. Let's say, what's the formula? I know if I'm looking for Celsius, okay, I need to do, F minus 32, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I do 5 times 5 over 9, right? Oh, let me erase it. All right. So I believe, different ways of doing it. We can have Celsius equal, did we say 5 over 9 times F minus 32, right? So that's how we convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit, okay? So we do 5 times this, okay? And we do that. But also we can change it for how to convert Fahrenheit. I mean, that's Fahrenheit to Celsius, but we can also convert Celsius to Fahrenheit by taking 9 over 5C plus 32. Okay, 9 over 5C plus 32. That's how you convert. Here, convert from C to Fahrenheit. Here, convert. No, I'm mistaken. Fahrenheit to Celsius here. Fahrenheit to Celsius. Convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay. Now, when they ask you to convert in this particular examples, convert 5 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit, it's extremely important to know these, especially if you plan on traveling, because it's all depending on which country you are in. You may not have access. I mean, everything is in Celsius or everything is in Fahrenheit. Let's say in the US, the temperature is in Fahrenheit, but if you go to Canada or France or somewhere in the Caribbean like Haiti, it's in Celsius. So you need to know when you see 36 degrees, And you first of all, you need to know in which scale. Is it in Celsius or is it in Fahrenheit? Because 36 degrees Celsius is extremely hot. It's a canicular. So, but if it's a Fahrenheit, it's going to be cold because 36 degrees is cold. But now how to convert 5 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit? First of all, we need Fahrenheit equal 9 over 5 times C plus 32. So Fahrenheit would be 9 times the 5 degrees Celsius you have over 5 plus 32. So 45 over 5 plus 32 would give you 45. I mean, 9 plus 32. Now we can say it is, when you add these two, it's going to give you 41 degrees, right? So first of all, what we do, we check the formula. We make sure we know the formula. We understand that C is the temperature in degrees Celsius. F is the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. Now, after you understand this, you need to translate the formula for to convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit is 9 times C over 5 plus 32. We substitute for C. So because we know C is 5 degrees, when in the formula, when we see C, I don't see. Okay, I'm here. All right, I'm gonna change that. I substitute for C, that is 5 degrees. Now, after I do all these computations, all right, I find the degrees in Fahrenheit is 41. So what I can do, I can check by replacing F with 41 degrees and C with 5 to make sure the left side is equal to the right side. Once I see that, I would conclude that 5 degrees Celsius, I can write it like 5 degrees Celsius, okay? I can write it like this, is the equivalent of, that was equivalent to 41 degrees Fahrenheit, all right? And that's it. All right, so we can solve as many problems as possible, but we're gonna just go over another one very quick. For this one, what they ask you to do is a flower bed is in the shape of a triangle. So we know about triangle. A flower bed is in the shape of a triangle with one side. Okay, so look, I have a triangle. Okay, remember, a triangle has three sides, and they tell us one side one side of my triangles is twice the length of the shortest side, and the third side is 30 feet more than the length of the shortest side. Find the dimensions of the perimeter if the perimeter is 102 feet. I think the first thing we need to do here is to identify the three sides. If we know the shortest side, then we can solve the problem. So the first thing to do is to make sure we know the shortest side. So what is the shortest side? Because as you can see, the one side twice the length of the shortest side, okay? And the third side is 30 feet more than the shortest side again, all right? So if I know the first side, I'm gonna let's call them A, B, and C, all right? Suppose let A be the shortest side, and now what should be B? If I were in the place of a triangle with one side, the second side, and C the third side. Because we have three sides. All right. Now, we said that the first side is A. Now, the second side, a flower bed, is in the shape of a triangle with one side twice. Twice means two. Twice the length of the shortest side. So 2 times the shortest side. So that's 2 times A. Okay? And now we also know that the third side is 30 feet more. 30 feet more. That means we need to add 30 to the shortest side. So we're going to have A plus 30. And we know formula for a triangle with 3 sides A and B is perimeter for the perimeter. For the perimeter of a triangle. In this case, it's gonna be A plus B plus C. So we add these 3 sides. We need to identify the length of the shortest side. Then the length of the second side is twice the length of the shortest side. And the length of the third side is 30 feet more. Now we know the formula. Now we can substitute. Remember we said P is 102. So we know what is P. So if we have perimeter equal A plus B plus C, remember here we have A and B is 2 times A. C is A plus 30. So we know the perimeter is 102 equal A, okay, plus B. What is B? Yes, 2A. And what is C? A plus 30. Now, you see, you have an equations only in one variable. So what we cover in section 2.1. So if you forget how to solve equations in one variable, I strongly advise you to go back and take a look on section 2.1. We had a video on it. Now, we can combine like terms on the right, the 102 stay there. We need to combine 1A plus 2A plus A give you 4A's plus 30. All right. After you do that, you need to isolate the 30. So the 4A. So we subtract 30 from both sides. So 102 minus 30, that gives you 72. You can verify if I'm correct on this, equal to 4A. Now we only want A. We need A on the right. We need to divide both sides by 4. So we end up having 72 divided by 4. Let's see, that gives 18. So the shortest side, so A is 18 feet. That's the shortest side. So what would be B then? The second side would be 2 times A. So meaning 2 times 18. That's give you what? Yes, 36. Thank you. 36. So B is 36 feet. And C equal A plus 30. What is A? A is, plus 30. A would be, 18 plus 30. What is 13? What is 18 plus 30 is 48. So C is equal 48 feet. All right, so you can check the answer because you know the shortest side for the triangle is 18 feet. Then the second side is 2 times the shortest side. I mean, 2 times 18 is 36 feet. And the third side is 30 more the shorter side. I mean, 18 plus 30 is 48 feet. So this gives the perimeter 102 if you add them up all together. So you can conclude that at this level, you can conclude that the three sides of the triangles, I can write it with a different color, the three sides of the triangle. The three sides of the triangle have a length of 18 feet, 36 feet, and 48 feet. And if you add all these three sides together, the total would be equal to 102. I'm hoping for these examples, you are all correct on this because we're still working on the equations, inequalities, and problem solving. In a different video, we would come back for section 2.4, linear inequalities and problem solving. Hope you had fun with this one. Let me know if you have any questions. Take care.